11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Exactly. What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Granny's Peach Tea, episode 128 for those counting. And we're opening up with Baltimore's Tarzan Boy.
I don't know the name of the song or who does it. I just know it as oh.
Yeah,
Great song though.
It's been dropped in like so many things and stuff, but like it makes a brief appearance in our movie of the week, which is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 from 1993.
Yes.
It was involved heavily in the marketing of the film, more than the actual film itself. So,
Was this the song that was like Walkman? Is that what this came in?
no, this was at the end when they find the samurais in the they're doing
like
karaoke.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
who knows? If the marketing decided it was good enough to run with, we decided to do it. So, yeah, thanks for joining us as always. And we'll be talking about Harley Quinn Season 4, Episode 9. And we continue our Ninja Turtles rewatch with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 from 1993. Lots of thoughts there. Lots to dig into there. But I'm Ed, and with me as always is Jason. Jason, what's up?
Hey, what's going on? Good to be here. I got an uplifting story, guys. An uplifting story. So, in the beginning of this Turtle Watch, if everyone remembers, I took my son, who's like a 3.5-year-old, to see the movie. His first movie experience. It was great. And as I was leaving, they stopped me. They were like, "Hey, give me your number. We want to give you a poster because it's your son's first movie experience." Because I happen to have had a conversation, and I didn't hear from them like forever. So I was just like, "Oh, all right, that was nice, but maybe they forgot or anything." I got a call randomly today. They're like, "Hey, sorry it took us so long, but we're getting rid of that poster, and if you want to come by and pick it up, it's yours." And I was like, "Oh yeah, cool, thanks. I'll be there tomorrow."
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to get this. And he was like, is it okay if we just take a picture of us giving it to you? And I'm like, yeah, of course. This is all about the commercialism. This is about the community outreach. I get it. I'm community right now.
You are.
Yeah, so.
It is a cool story. I told Angie the story. I don't know. It was one of the last 2 times we went to the movies because we walked past the turtle poster, and I told her about it, and she thought it was pretty awesome too.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I'd never experienced anything like that. It all came about because I was trying to take a selfie of my son and I, and a guy coming out of the bathroom asked if I wanted help. And it was like, apparently he was like a big wig at this place, but I had no idea. I'm just, I'm like, I'm there with my son. I like to talk. I'm like, oh, it's his first time. Come, talk. Let me talk your ear off for 20 minutes because I'm of that age now.
Well, listen, this continues to restore my faith in people. Like this is a pretty cool story. And you said you were gonna frame it too?
Yeah,
right?
no, I'm gonna get it, and we're gonna frame it, and we're gonna put it in this room because it's commemorative of his first movie. Hell, man, I wish someone cared enough about me when I was his age to get a commemorative fucking photo of my first movie.
Oh fuck yeah! I also wish I knew what the hell my first movie was. Like he'll never forget it.
I mean, it could be one of 3, but I really don't know at this point.
I mean, I've talked about Transformers the movie many times. I'm seeing it in the Ridgewood, but I don't think that was it.
It's for me. It's one of these 3, and I have no idea which one it is. It's either Critters 2, Who Framed Roger Rabbit,
okay,
or Critters 2, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, or I'm blanking on that third one, so it's one of those 2. And when the third one comes to me, I'll tell you. But it's literally like, and Return of the Jedi. I have vague memories of seeing all 3 of those in the theater.
Okay.
I don't know if those memories are true, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. So, but I saw one of those in the theater, I'm sure.
I hope it was Return of the Jedi, to be honest with you.
Yeah, me too, actually. Me too.
That would be awesome. If that was the case.
Because then I could actually say I actually saw one of the original trilogy before they were fucking raped by George Lucas.
Yeah, he did it to his own film franchise. Yeah, I did not see the original trilogy in the theater. That's why I was so hyped up to see it. Like, I drove to Jersey. I took Burr and Tim to Jersey during COVID to see the 40th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back.
Nice, very
and we,
nice.
Sat apart and stuff and everything like that, and we dealt with the whole like first measures and everything. And then I saw Return of the Jedi. Just was it last summer or something like that? So whenever the heck that was. So I still got to see A New Hope in the theater. Maybe the 50th anniversary.
Yeah, go for it, man. I saw New Hope in the theater when they re-released it when we were in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So like 96 or 97, like that's when I saw all of them in the theater then. But those were all like, like touch.
It wasn't
like
yeah,
like none of us will ever see like the real deal in the theater because I don't even think those prints exist anymore.
I think Disney has them locked up somewhere far in a galaxy far, far away.
You think when Lucas dies, they release the original trilogy as it was released and release officially the Christmas special?
I don't know, because the thing with the stuff with Lucas was like all behind it. He's like, no, this is the movie now. That's it. Like, deal with it.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. That's why they wait till he dies and then just release it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be a nice thing to do. I think that would be pretty cool. I think they all want the holiday special to vaporize from everyone's memories. Like, if they can Men in Black flashy thing everyone, they would totally do it.
But it's never going to happen. Actually, the best thing they could do to make people forget about it is to mass release it. The only reason any of us talk about it is because we're not allowed to. If that shit was just there, it would be like one of those stupid Ewoks movies. When was the last time you watched or thought of one of those fucking Ewok movies when we were kids?
Had to be discussions. It had to be in a discussion with Tim of some sort.
Yeah, right.
I've always said that I remember as a kid I liked them. I was excited to watch them,
and I did too as a kid. But like, I don't know. I got past being a kid, and outside of my conversations with Tim, once every 6 years, I think of the scene where the water sucks them in.
Yes,
but that's it. That's it. So, if I grew up and the Christmas special was just around, it was ubiquitous. Mm-hmm. I'd be like, oh yeah, remember Fluffy was getting a blowjob in his VR thing? Like, it would be a joke. It wouldn't be like, yes, this is special. I'm just saying.
Listen, Tim, if you're watching or listening at any point, if you're Tim, Jason and I are still game to do this holiday special.
I'm in.
Help you get Shooting the Sith back on the air of some sort, man.
I'll even watch those Ewok specials. I'm kind of looking for an excuse.
All right. Well, before we get into it, and there you go. There's a little Star Wars talk for you on the beginning of the comic book show. But, well, whatever. We love sharing off from time to time. But during this broadcast, make sure you send us some stars for a digital gift that helps us earn money for Pop Culture Pros, because that's what we are presented by. And so come hang out and let's talk some Turtles and talk some Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Season 4, episode 9. So
this was an interesting episode.
It was. It certainly was.
All right. So, interesting stuff. I actually did like this episode. I thought it was a lot of fun. But here are the main highlights. So, everyone remember how Harley Quinn's been hallucinating, seeing herself? Yeah, she's not hallucinating. There's a clone of Harley Quinn that's half Harley, half potato, created by Jim Gordon in an episode we saw. I remember that scene.
Yep.
So, kudos to this show for setting this up so early. And pretty much she has been doing all the Bat Family stuff, which is why the Bat Family hasn't been looking for Harley, and is like super into vengeance and justice, way even more than Batman. Like, she's like arrested a nun and a guy for jaywalking or something like that. It's something really dumb. But the big takeaway from this, Harley-wise, is Harley is the one who killed Nightwing, strangled him with the friendship bracelet in her sleep, and then tied it on. She also then, her thing, because it's her and Ivy. We're back to the her and Ivy storylines. So she also then, so there's a whole scene with her and Dr. Psycho. Dr. Psycho goes in her brain. They go back to the night where Batgirl was picking up her mother in the cabin when she was partying with the Freeze Boys.
Uh-huh.
And it was that night that this all happened, of course. She then that's the Flash, but I think this is hysterical. She calls the Flash like, "Hey, buddy, we hung out the other night. Let's prank Dr. Psycho. Let's just go bring him back in time a minute because he hates doing ads, so he'll just have to do them over." And the Flash is like, "Yeah, that's awesome. Let's do it."
So what were your thoughts on the reveal that clone Harley was the killer, was the one who actually killed Nightwing? Oh, no, sorry. Real Harley did kill Nightwing in her sleepwalking whole thing.
I didn't love it.
Okay, neither did I.
I
didn't love.
Yeah, I didn't love it, and I'm also going to say I didn't love the end of this, the very end of this episode, which is the Joker, coming out and shooting Batgirl in the stomach. And having her, fall into Harley's arms while they're having a moment. I didn't love that either, because that's, as much as I love the Killing Joke, that's not this Joker.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what to make of that either, and I knew that I thought of you immediately when I was watching this. I'm like, Jason is gonna hate this.
I like Good Guy Joker a lot,
and I almost just feel like it happens at the very end of the episode, and it literally just abruptly ends right there. So yes. I'm even wondering, are we getting a fake out death? Are they just wiping out the entire Bat family from this show to just have them out of the way so they can go forward? I don't know. I'm still, I guess in some ways, I'm still not loving what they do with the heroes on the show. Overall, it's just, and I get it. I am all in on this is, a friggin' Elseworld story, essentially. This is just how it is. It's through Harley's point of view. But I don't know. The Flash is a complete idiot. He's getting kicked in the nuts and all this other crap. Superman's hiding somewhere because the sun isn't around anymore. So he's this pathetic little weakling running around. I mean, Bruce Wayne is in prison or something like that. Wonder Woman, I don't even know what the heck they did with her. I lost track of that.
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It seems to be just a bit odd. And it's just are we just trying to clear the path of the Bat family in Gotham so the villains can be the only competent ones to reign supreme? I don't know. I think that's what they're going for.
See, I have no problem with all of the stuff you said about Superman, the Flash, and Batman. It's the killing of the Bat family that I don't like it, because they didn't kill Bruce Wayne. They didn't kill these people. They're idiots, and they're not in the running anymore. Yeah. But to kill the Bat family one by one in cold blood, I don't know. That's a bit too much for me. And again, not because they're so sacred. It's not the tone of this show. This show is incredibly violent and will, thoughtlessly kill people that don't matter. But I don't know, to thoughtlessly kill actual characters in the show, tonally it just doesn't feel right to me. That's all. I didn't like it either.
So we also get a little Bane in this episode, where it does kind of keep driving home my thing about Clayface.
Yes, you're right, because Clayface does, and I love this because the payoff, right? As Ivy is about to go and speak to the public after brutally killing this one of the people on the Legion of Doom, the first time taking his eye out with a golf ball, and then in the rerun, throwing a golf club, which goes up his ass and out his mouth. I thought that was funny.
It was very funny.
Yeah. But then, because Bane gets a text like, oh, now it's time. Do it now. And Bane comes in, headbutts Ivy, goes, I'm sorry. It was a debt I had to pay. Bane is the MVP.
Yeah, he totally still is the MVP of this. But Clayface, again, I think he's going to be the big bad of the season. That's going to be, I still stand by that. That's the reveal.
I hope so, because I would really, really like them to utilize him.
I also don't know what the hell they're doing with Joker. Like, I don't know what this is setting up.
I don't either. I don't either. And again, I'm just not, I don't know. Again, you gave me bad guy Joker in season 1, and it was great. Then you give me good guy Joker, and that's even better because it's fucking funny, and this show is insane. But then just to give me bad guy Joker again, it's like, I don't know. I mean, what are they going to do? What's next? They're going to make the Riddler straight again? Are they going to make it not Jim Rash? I mean, because that's funny. Him and not that he's gay, that's funny, but like the idea of him and Clock King being together, going like, because that's part of this episode, because they have to vote against Lex in the Ivy storyline. But like, I don't know, man. You've changed the characters in such a cool, distinct way. Why walk it back?
They better have some sort of a payoff, but it pretty much, to wrap this up. So I think that's the only way. Rick is dropping in a comment here, which he knows better than this. All comic book deaths are fake outs. Rick, see Uncle Ben, see the Wayne parents.
That's right.
No. Just no. Nope. And Elseworlds stories and multiverse doesn't count. Because, yes, we are aware that in Flashpoint, you got the Waynes coming back, and in the original Spider-Verse storyline, there is an Uncle Ben that is Spider-Man in one of the, multiverse, but no. That's it. Just no. All right, so, I mean, I don't know when the heck the finale is, because I can't seem to find an episode count of any of these HBO Max animated series, because we got completely fooled that My Adventures with Superman was still going to keep going, but it's apparently not. Like, it wrapped up. That was the finale.
Yeah, which is crazy, because like I texted you yesterday because I sat down and watched it. I'm like, wait, this is all I have? Wow, this is a light week.
Yeah, but it's all right. Things will be picking up soon enough.
Absolutely.
Because Gen V is dropping soon. And then Loki is dropping like the next week after that. So those are going to be running simultaneously at the same time.
Good. Get back to it.
And Amazon will be dropping the first 3 episodes of Gen V at the same time. So,
ooh, geez. All right. So we're going to have a movie-less episode.
Yeah, probably. But anything else on Harley Quinn episode 9 before we get to our movie?
So Ivy's whole thing is she is pretty much, I thought this was clever. She can't fight Lex because she can't use her powers because of the sun. So she does a whole like board meeting and votes him out and then reverses the damage and puts the sun back. I thought that was fun. I didn't think it needed to be a whole episode, but I thought that like that was a fun resolution to that fight.
I actually enjoyed the Ivy storyline more than the Harley storyline.
I did too.
I thought it was pretty funny with the Lex stuff and him trying to explain photosynthesis and stuff to her, and she's like, "You fucking idiot! I know what it is."
I love that like he keeps trying to fucking. That's the very definition of mansplaining. When you were trying to explain photosynthesis to a fucking plant.
So that shit I thought was funny. Anytime I see Bane is usually always good. So.
Bane's gold.
Yeah.
I've never loved Bane as much as I do in this show.
I agree, though. Step up. Even though we enjoyed last week's episode, but like this was a fun episode. I think they're course correcting. Hopefully, and maybe next week is the finale. I'll see if I can get an episode count. We'll see how that goes.
Hopefully, it ends well. Hopefully, it sticks the landing.
Exactly, as we always say.
So
that does bring us to our movie of the week, and those who have been paying attention, we've been following the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theatrical adventures, and we went all the way back to 1990, and now we are at the 3rd installment and final installment or quasi-final installment of this part of the franchise. We'll get into explaining why. But yeah, so after the box office failure of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze, they decided to have a last-ditch effort and still make Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. Like, I feel like in this era, this movie never would have gotten greenlit, and that just would have been the end of it, and they would have waited and then rebooted.
Yeah, they would have
Like,
wait like at least 6 months and then rebooted.
Exactly. Like, it would have been that quick, and that would have been it. It would have been a darker, grittier take.
It just gets darker and grittier.
Well, because look what happened, right? Let's look at the footsteps of this, right? We were talking before we went on. 1990, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was an indie flick. It's the highest grossing indie flick of all time that made $200 million, like on a shoestring budget, like you had said. And that's what got the budget inflated for 2, but they just forgot to write a movie for the second one. They were like, no, we need to get this out while the turtles are hot, less than a year later, and screw it. Just put things in front of the camera, put the turtles back in front of the camera, and everyone will love it. Oh, and by the way, let's tone down the ninja violence in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And it'll blow up in their face.
Which we see in this, although at least we see their weapons. They don't use them, but at least they brandish them at times.
Well, that's before we get into like the nuts and bolts of this, there are things because like there's a lot to unpack with this film itself. So they slashed the budget, still rolled this thing out. Okay, they couldn't afford Jim Henson's Creature House anymore, so they went to pretty much the Roger Corman version of animatronics and went with this, and it shows a lot. Now, I was also thinking, like, what did they spend all the money on, right? Did you spend it on the shooting in Oregon that was supposed to be feudal Japan? Because maybe you should have just rewrote the story and had it back in Vancouver, New York City. And then you could have had good-looking turtles at least, right?
No, 90% of this budget went to bring back Elias Codius for some reason. I don't know why he needed to be back, but it's the only way I could. It's the only thing that makes sense that A, where the money went, and B, why he's back.
Yeah, because for the story, there's no reason for Casey Jones to be in this movie whatsoever. Like, at all.
And again, like if what he said is true, that he said no to Turtles 2, then I don't know, was he in fucking 20 large to the mob that he was like yes to Turtles 3?
I don't know. I that part I've not been, because I've done a little research behind these movies and stuff. Yes, there was a little that goes into this here and there, because I'm really fascinated with the behind the scenes stuff of a lot of this crap, and this is what we ended up with. So Eastman and Laird decided that they were going to do the last things. They felt the grasp of the Ninja Turtles bonanza starting to die after the second movie, and why is all over the place. So they decided to do a throughway, basically a Turtles in Time storyline, not to be confused with the video games. That actually had nothing to do with this.
Because that was awesome.
That fucking game was fantastic.
Yes, it was.
And they started it in the comic books, continued it in an episode of the animated series, and then it ends in this. So the thing is this, if like I didn't do any research, and I don't recall any of this being grossly advertised, but I also don't understand like the way things are now. This who the fuck is following this?
Yeah, that's wild.
It's just dumb. And the only way that you know that this is a thing in this movie, or there's a shred of evidence, is because there's a scene in the movie where they talk when they're in feudal Japan. There's talk by the villains of, oh look, there's paintings of these turtles that were here before that defeated my ancestors. That was referencing the events of the comic book and of the cartoon. Actually, it was of the comic book specifically. And in the comic book, the turtles did defeat the ancestors of Shredder's ancestor.
Oh, so that was supposed to be Shredder's ancestor.
Yeah, so there was like a time mistress that was involved, and it was a whole big thing, but all of that got cut due to the budget. because you can't afford any of that now.
Yeah,
So
because
there was a dragon. There was a crazy shit going on.
Because this just literally became, I just so happen to be holding the staff with 4 people while you're holding the staff with 4 people, and bang, we've transferred bodies. What?
Exactly, and that's the thing. Like, I'm not saying that there wasn't an idea of something here, but why would you do the through? But like, did the comic books follow the same timeline as the movies? The cartoons didn't. So why were you doing the throughway through this? And this is obviously following the events of Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm like completely confused about what the hell was going on here. Like, it sounded like you had a cool concept, but it was really shitty executed, which is kind of how I feel about this film in general. Is just that there's ideas of stuff, like the whole idea of the turtles going back in time to feudal Japan, and that, okay, cool.
That's a super cool idea.
Yeah.
That almost nothing is done with.
No, they just go back to the past because, like as you said, the short version of this is. Matter of fact, before we even get to the short version, how about this? Let's watch the opening of the film. So I want to give our viewers at least an idea and a taste of the the suits for the turtles and whatever's going on with Splinter in this, because he looks like an animatronic from Chuck E. Cheese in this film.
Yeah, no exaggeration.
Yeah. So let's get to this and let's actually check this out together, and you can see what the heck I'm saying. And just, I exaggerate for comedic effect sometimes, as we all do. But I don't think so here. I think this is pretty on fucking brand.
Oh God, I like the ridiculous dance moves.
Yes.
What is this? This starts and ends the movie.
Yep. Just look how terrible they look.
They look terrible.
Even like the size, he's just waving them around.
But
here we go.
nothing is as terrible as this.
Oh my lord.
Splinter's so bad, I don't think he ever moves from behind that fucking window. You only see him behind that window.
Oh my god.
That thing has such dead eyes. The animatronics at Chuck E. Cheese look more alive than this Splinter.
Yeah. So whoever these stuntmen are, they clearly don't know what they're doing with their weapons. They're just whatever. All right. Oh, nunchucks being used. Watch out.
Whoa. Surprised it's not soft things. I'll be honest with you, if this movie was better written and interesting, I could completely overlook how bad the turtles look.
And that's the thing. So that's kind of what I was personally looking for here. Is I was trying to get past how shitty the turtles and Splinter looked, and in that opening scene right there, it took me completely out of the movie. I was done right then and there.
No, I'll be honest, there's no getting past how bad Splinter looks. I took 2 notes in this movie, and one of them is Splinter looks fucking awful.
Yeah, and it's and my wife Angie, she came in and checked this out. She's sitting there with me, and she's just like, "What is wrong with them?" Like, because she's tuned in. She's checked in a couple of times while I'm watching this stuff, and she's just like, "Yeah, they do. The turtles look pretty cool in the first movie. How about the third movie? Do they get drastically worse?" And budgets. Yeah, it's really hard to get past that. And as you can see, that's what kicks off the movie. It took me right out of it right away. And yeah, the turtles, essentially, April O'Neil shows up right after that. She has got them some stuff on a flea market. She gets all the turtles something, and she gets Splinter the scepter just randomly.
I love that she just, hey guys, I just picked the scepter up at a flea market. This time traveling scepter. It's a good thing that no one ever touched this scepter while someone in the exact moment of feudal Japan that this movie also takes place in is touching it. Like, what?
Yeah, super, super lazy mailing in the writing here. And there's other explanations of the scepter in like the comic book and in the cartoon. But in this movie, which is what we're talking about, it's none of this is there. Like there's no explanation for any of this. So then she gets sucked back into time. She gets swapped with somebody. The turtles decide to go ahead and to follow her back in time. They get Casey Jones back to hang out with Splinter while these random dudes are here from the past.
That's my second note. My one of two is literally when I think it's Leonardo or Raphael brings in Casey Jones. They're like, hey, everyone, you remember Casey Jones, right? And you hear, that's like a fucking guitar riff. And he comes in like, hey, guys, me, Casey Jones. Like, what?
No, there's more, though. There's definitely more. Because Elias Kostis, he also plays a double agent character in feudal Japan who has no connection to Casey Jones. Why? You can't. They didn't never say like that's his ancestor or something or anything. There's no connection. They were just like, "Now we need to have him in this movie."
But the thing is, it's even worse because it's not like they just threw him in. It's not like they went, you know what? We got to get our money's worth. He's going to play two roles. We're just going to make him look different. Because to be honest with you, I didn't realize it was the same person until fucking April O'Neil pointed it out. Like, oh, Casey? Oh, you're not Casey. Like, so many people go, Casey? Oh, you're not Casey. And it's like, but that comes to nothing. Why does everyone point out that this is the same actor when it comes to nothing?
I don't know. I don't know. It's one of the many mind-boggling things about this film. Because that's also something that happens. And when the Turtles do go back in time to save April O'Neil, it's just like, okay, they eventually get the scepter. And then we find out after a bunch of stuff is happening, which not a lot happens, though, because fairly boring film.
Yes, it is. They
find the scepter just like a child finds it laying around the whole time while this is going on.
And there's also like this weird like subplot where they're trying to have the fucking blacksmith make a new scepter, which
goes nowhere.
Yeah, comes to nothing because literally they go, "Hey, we did it," and this kid comes and goes, "I got the real one." They go, "Oh, fuck this! Give us the real one!" Like,
yeah, like what happened? And then there's also the storyline with this guy named Walker that's in it. He's like this English dude trying to sell, whichever the shoguns, the daimyo, like guns to win his war, but he just keeps trying to do that constantly, and nothing comes of that either.
And he's also like a mustache twirling villain.
Yes.
Because, like, let's be honest, the daimyo should be the villain, but he's not. He's just this hapless guy who's like, well, I don't know, these fucking 4 mutant turtle wizards things came. I gotta kill him.
Well, because they wiped out his ancestors or whatever. But no mention of the connection with like Shredder's lineage either.
No. And when he said about the ancestors, I was thinking, oh, this should be Shredder. Yeah, it was. It was.
But they don't tell you that in the film.
No, they don't. Not at all. It's not there.
Yeah, which is again like you're sort of expecting people at the time. Was I don't remember this being like advertised like this. And again, I did state previously, this is the first time I've seen this film.
Same.
Because again, we were just in high school at the time and stuff like that too. So we were, too cool to be looking at this stuff anymore. Just barely, because we had to wait until our 40s to do it. But
well, I will tell this story though. My wife, who is Filipino and younger than me, came home last night at the end while I was watching this. She sits down and she goes, "Oh, this is the one where the turtles are in Japan, right?" I'm like, "The fuck do you know that?" Like there are movies that this woman has never heard of that you just take for granted. It's like second nature. She's like, "Yeah, no, this was that was one of her movies. It was on in her house all the time."
I was gonna say she owned the VHS, right?
She did. Or I think it was I think they actually had Betamax in the Philippines.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
that's actually pretty cool. I don't think I've ever seen Betamax.
I had one when I was super young, but I that was when I was like 4.
So she saw this movie before we did.
Oh yeah. Oh no,
Numerous occasions.
multiple times.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah.
Huh. So yeah, I don't know. Then the Turtles pretty much come back in time. They switch places, and Casey Jones throughout the whole movie is this cuts to him babysitting Shredder. I'm sorry, I was babysitting Splinter and hanging out with these random 4 dudes he's showing them hockey and they really like hockey, and then they're singing karaoke.
It's so stupid. There's the scene where they're watching hockey and they're just eating an array of 80s, 90s like snacks. And it's like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't mean to put the foot of realism in this, but if you yanked someone from feudal Japan and gave them a Twinkie, they would get dysentery immediately. Their stomachs are not fucking made for the garbage that we ingest in this day and age. The preservatives and shit. Like, these guys are eating like fucking Twinkies and chips and shit. These guys would be shitting themselves to death because they do not have the enzymes in their stomach to process the garbage that we eat. I'm just throwing that out there.
So you're saying that there's no director's cut where they shit themselves?
No, but there should be. There should be 20 minutes of these guys shitting themselves.
That probably would have made this movie better. Because that's what that's what I felt like watching this movie. An hour and a half of me shitting myself.
That's right. This movie is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles dysentery.
Dude, this is rough. It is a really, really rough watch. So the question is this worse than Ninja Turtles 2: The Secret of the Ooze?
Yes.
Okay.
Fucking leaps and bounds because it's boring.
I'm going to tell you the truth. I honestly think both movies remember, we talked about this last. Both movies are fairly boring.
Correct.
Because remember, the first half of Secret of the Ooze is the Turtles looking for an apartment.
Correct. That's enigmatic apartment hunting right there. But let me just, because I did the math here in my head. Okay, so both of these movies are boring. All right. Mm-hmm. 2 has Razor and Toka. Are they great? No. What does 3 have? Mustache twirling Englishman.
Walker.
Yeah. Who's like, I'm going to get you, Daimyo, but sell you these cannons too. Okay. The second one has Shredder. The third one has the Daimyo, who I don't know is related to Shredder because they never told me. Mm-hmm. The second one has Vanilla Ice. The third one does not have Vanilla Ice.
By the way, speaking on that, and I'm with you. You're breaking this down perfectly because now I honestly didn't know the answer to this. I figured we would just do this here, but you're laying it out perfectly. You're definitely selling me on this. Did you the group text with Rick? So you were on it.
Yes, just remind me.
All right, so our friend Rick was at a Tampa Bay Rays game.
Oh yes.
And apparently there was a '90s I Love the '90s night, and Vanilla Ice was the headliner of some other acts that I'm kind of shocked it was still the case. And there was a Ninja Turtles Vanilla Ice crossover T-shirt that he grabbed me. He picked one up for me, so I will hopefully get it by the time we end our Turtle watch, and I will definitely bust that out for the show. And it's going to definitely happen randomly now. And I'm not going to try to explain it. If you don't know, you don't know. Like, I'm not going to explain it further than that. Yeah, the timing of this just was astonishing.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. He was able to see that, grab that. I wonder if it was spurned on because of the Turtles movie. Like, I'm sure that there is this isn't. We're living in 20 nostalgia, right? Like, everything that was old is new again and will be new again in every 3 years. So, I mean, maybe this was maybe he got that gig because of the new Turtles movie.
That's true, because the song does actually briefly appear in Mutant Mayhem. So
it does. That's right. Yeah.
So that kind of makes sense. But yeah, so this movie would essentially end the franchise for a while.
Thankfully.
But then they came out Ninja. It was just called not even Teenage Mutant. It was just Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation. That was the live action TV show where they introduced like the girl turtle, who's the fifth turtle, and it looks. I might even look better than this, or I'm not really sure.
Wow.
Possibly, and then that only lasted 20 something episodes because it totally was dead on arrival and nobody cared. But from what I understand, they referenced the events of these three movies.
Interesting. I'm never gonna do it, but I'm so tempted to look for it and actually watch it.
Oh, YouTube, come on! You can watch like a scene. I'll watch 5 or 10 minutes of it.
No, I might watch 5 or 10 minutes of it, but I'm tempted to watch the whole season. That's what I'm never gonna do.
No, I that would be a lot. That would definitely be a lot. But yeah, so that's it. That was a disappointing end to the original Turtles franchise.
It really was. It really was. And like you bring back Casey Jones to do nothing. And that's what this movie is. You're just bringing people in to do nothing. Like April O'Neil does nothing. Although I'm sorry, we almost forgot the weird turtle sexual harassment scene where. So it's this weird thing where when you travel through time, you swap clothes, but you bring your personal effects with you. So April winds up in the robes of a samurai, but with her Walkman.
Yeah.
Okay. So when the turtles rescue her, she hitches up her like samurai gear and like, is showing some leg. And it's not like, look, it's not like it's super sexy, like, ooh, look at me. This is like, this is Paige Turco, who's an attractive woman, just sort of hitching up her skirt with some sneakers on. Like, she ain't trying to be sexy. And like the two turtles, like, oh, look at Miss Leg show. Swing.
Yes, that's right. They had the Wayne's World fucking like callback right there.
Oh my god. This movie is chock full of weird, like they reference Quantum Leap. They reference so much weird shit in this movie.
Well, you did say in Mutant Mayhem, and part of that review was the Turtles doing pop culture references, and apparently it's always been a thing.
You're right. I walked it back right after that first episode. I walked that back. I was like, you know what? I was wrong. This is apparently very bigly part of the lore.
And that's why it's just kind of like, hey, we're going to reboot the Turtles every so often. They'll make their current puns and references. Because, again, yes, they are teenagers, and yes, that's what teenagers do. I mean, we did it. I'm sure we made a bunch of bizarre references of pop culture constantly. Still happens to this day.
Yeah, same references, Back to the Future.
Exactly. So, yeah, there's that. But yeah, I agree. The whole swing Wayne's World thing with April was just weird, and I don't know. It just was, and yeah, I don't know. I was fascinated about watching this movie before we did because I haven't seen it, and from when I was reading, some people were saying, "Oh, it's somewhere in the middle of the first and second one." I can't say I agree with that, and I don't want. We don't like the second one, and this one was actually worse.
Yeah, again, it's got less going on. Like there's just as much as that first one is kind of boring in the beginning. I mean, again, at least it's got some mutants. It's got David Warner. It's got the Shredder. It's got a more tangible attachment to the first movie. Like this doesn't feel attached to those first two movies at all, even with Casey Jones, because they literally just go, "Hey guys, remember this guy?" And then he's babysitting fucking samurai. It's like, what?
Yeah, no hockey mask to be seen at all. There's hockey references in there to remind you that it's Casey Jones, I guess.
That weird part where he's like, "All right, guys, time to teach us some hockey," and then they just beat the shit out of each other. And it's like, what? Why is this? Was this a filler scene? What is this doing? Something for someone?
And this is an hour and 30-minute movie. You shouldn't have any filler scenes.
No,
not at all.
This should go easy breezy, and it didn't.
Yeah, it took a while, and like I said, the opening scene that we showed earlier, I couldn't get past it. I heard the Turtles looked kind of tough in this movie, and Splinter, and boy, it was. It did. It took me right out of it right then, and I was trying my best to get back into this movie, and I just couldn't. Every time they talked, every time they moved, like it was bad. And also, by the way, so Corey Feldman is back as Donatello in this movie because he was done with rehab for this one because that's where he was during the second movie. It doesn't help at all.
No, nothing helps because it's again. There's nothing here. It's a boring movie.
Yeah, because we got a new voice for Splinter, we got a new voice for Raphael, and it's just,
yeah, we do. And that Splinter voice sounds like he looks terrible.
Yeah, it's tough.
And can we before we move on, can we talk about the end of this movie? Because the first one ends with "I made a funny," the second one ends with "I made another funny," and this ends with him putting a fucking lampshade on his head and making stupid fucking jokes to make one of the turtles laugh. It's like, what is going on at the end of this movie?
Nothing. It was like basically we listen. Hey, throw this scene in there. It's in. That's it. End of movie. So whatever. If you got your Turtles kick and you're feeling nostalgic, don't see this. Just don't waste your time. Most people did not see this as for the box office and everything.
Yeah,
but it did open at number 1 in the box office its opening week, but with zero competition. But it pretty much was dead on arrival after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a direct to DVD or direct to video if I've ever seen one. The gall to ask people to pay $7 was it to see a movie back then?
Yeah, probably. That sounds about right.
To ask the people to fucking pay for this movie is ridiculous. This is a direct to video sequel.
Yeah, it is it's like Kickboxer 5 or something like that.
Right, which is great when it's direct to video, but you don't want to go to the theater for that crap.
Yeah, this is garbage, man. So you got your turtle kick like we are. You can't say that. We highly recommend you skip this one. Don't waste your time. It's pretty. It's brutal.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, there it is. That does it for us this week.
Shortest show ever, Ed. Shortest show
this is it.
ever.
So, yeah. Thanks for joining us as always. Sorry, I got like a little cough in there.
No worries. Yeah, thanks for joining us as always. Check us out on the Facebook page, Pop Culture Pros, where we share things that don't make it to the show necessarily.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, check out Granny's PhD's Facebook group. Check out Pop Culture Pros' Facebook group. Checking us out on YouTube. Subscribe to Pop Culture Pros. And on X. You can follow Pop Culture Pros as well. Check out all the stuff that's there. There's a lot of cool stuff on the network. Football just got kicked off, so we got 2 football shows going on here. Baseball's wrapping up. Our baseball shows are wrapping there too. So go ahead and check that out. Jason and I will be back next week talking about the next episode of Harley Quinn Season 4 and the theatrical reboot to the franchise actually titled TMNT from 2007.
That's right.
Turtles going back to their first technically animated theatrical release.
Okay, so I think this will be interesting.
Yeah, so I've heard some good stuff about this one, and I heard it was pretty interesting. So we shall see before we get back into the live action, where we get the Michael Bay produced 2 films.
Okay, I'm ready for that first one. I'm really excited for that second one. It still is I really think I'm going to walk away that being my favorite one
out of all the Turtle movies.
Yeah, because you know me, I'm not going to count the cartoon ones. Cartoons are different.
Okay.
So it's like you know what? It'll be tied with the first one because the first one I have nostalgia for.
Fair enough. That's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough for me to top the first one.
You're right.
The OG is still my favorite.
The OG is there, but it's like right under there. Right under.
Okay. All right. So see you next week. Peace.
Later.